Willie actually uploaded this video I really wanted to take a look at, and it's called The Unfinished Side of Vanilla WoW We Never Saw.
From scrap zones to remove dungeons, unfinished quest lines, and so much more. When Blizzard set out to make Classic originally, there was such a large volume of content built up that they wanted to put in the game, they physically did not have time to get it all done. The level cap was supposed to be 70, Northrend was seen on early versions of the map, and the Black Temple was even originally a dungeon, amongst...
I actually didn't know that, but I know that Outland was supposed to be in the game, Karashen was supposed to be in the game, Hyjal, Emerald Dream. There were so many things that they had intended to be in the game. You can actually go in, if you go into Deadmines and bug out of the dungeon, you can find an older version of Outland inside of Deadmines. It's actually pretty cool. What's up, Karken? Good to see you, man.
Many other things.
I haven't seen this,
Eventually, though, it was packaged together into whole expansions rather than just continuing on patch by patch. And that's become the way Blizzard have done major gameplay updates ever since. Vanilla was really unique in this regard.
Ambitious.
Because at its outset, it was the only version of WoW which really would have made sense if it just did continue through patches instead of your standard expansion with its whole new zones, raids, quests, and so on. Currently, in the classic WoW space, a lot of people are looking for a bit of vanilla action, be it a fresh, a seasonal, or something with a...
Type 1 in the chat if you want the fresh, man. The vanilla Andes will always want a fresh, alright? There's never a time where you wouldn't want a fresh. It's like that... Oh, it's so good, man.
Twist on the original experience. So I thought, why not highlight just how much of vanilla was not finished? And ask, what if we never did get expansions? What content was cut or moved back? And what is the side of vanilla which we never really got to see? But first, a quick word from today's sponsor, Call of Dragons.
I love Call of Dragons. Holy. Reeves, thank you for the 8 months, by the way. Thank you so much.
Dragons is a multiplayer Call of Dragons strategy game available cross-platform.
I'm not pausing during an ad, Zebra. That's too much.
Combines elements of exploration and real-time gameplay. Call of Dragons has a huge open world with tons of fantasy races, including goblins, celestial, orcs, elves, humans, and many more. Pair up different heroes together to figure out which skills work best when combined. You can even add special artifact items that further boost their power.
I was about to say, this looks so much like Raid Shadow Legends. Like, it's the exact same vibe.
And allow for you to explore tons of different strategic options
but
to win battles in the way that you prefer.
It's like,
you can
same vibe,
train
man.
Up your heroes via their own talent trees to modify their skills and eventually unlock their ultimate abilities too, allowing you to match your heroes to how you would prefer to play.
They are.
Each faction in the world of Tamaris have their own unique cities that set them apart from one another. Humans rely on stone and wood, elves on natural resources and magic, and orcs, tusks, and animal furs. Pick and choose your preference and create the city you want to see in the world.
That's amazing.
Call of Dragons is from the creators of Rise of Kingdoms, meaning they have
yes, my favorite game.
First-hand experience in creating strategy games and want to offer a more in-depth experience
you actually called it out, unpredictable.
Who has the greater number on their side via a whole range of strategic in-game options.
That's amazing.
This is very much scratching the surface. Best of all, you can get that fresh game release feeling as Call of Dragons is set to come out on March 28th. You can download and pre-register right now by checking out my link below. Many thanks to Call of Dragons for
til dig også. Tak for de 5 måneder.
Sponsored today, let's get back to WoW. I want to start off on some loose ends that vanilla has, things which were started and not finished until in some cases years later. One of the more interesting ones, and a quest line which is really easy to miss following through fully, starts right at the end of Alderman. You know the deal, you beat Arcades.
Oh, yeah, he's talking about the discs. That quest is actually really, there's a lot of lore with that.
2 is about 5 levels higher than anything else in the dungeon because classic dungeon design. The rogue in the party loots the chest before anyone has a chance to say anything, and then you go click the large discs at the back of the room and start the quest, the Platinum Discs.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this quest leads into Uldum. If you don't know, if you do the entire quest, I believe it leads into Uldum. And like Uldum, you guys know it came out in when was Uldum released, chat? Yeah, so it's Cataclysm. It leads into Uldum or Ulduar. It leads into Ulduar, which you have to wait 2 patches for. Really?
This has you take your discovery back to either Ironforge or Thunderbluff, which will give a follow-up reward with some potions and a nice 14 slot bag too.
That's good.
But that is not where this quest line ends.
Go to
What people often miss is this unlocks a new quest which you are not directed to in any way because classic quest design called Portents of Uldum. Your faction historians have found that there may be a link between these discs you found in Alderman and a mysterious gate on the southern end of Tanaris, and they
Man, I remember when I found this gate originally, I tried so hard to get through it because my 10-year-old brain thought that there was going to be like a whole world through that gate. I mean, there's literally just a wall, but like, you know, it just shows how immersed you can get in the game, I guess.
I want you to take those discs there and...
Same thing with the Gilneas gate. If you go to Silverpine Forest in vanilla, you can see the big Gilneas gate, right? That goes into Gilneas.
See what happens. Upon arrival, a pedestal sits outside of the gate. When activated, it states the player must also have the Plates of Uldum before access can be granted. And since, well, you don't have them, it's back to your faction's capitals to report on this. With the quest ominously ending, be sure to check back with us soon. Uldum beckons. In reality, it was not beckoning very hard,
it's so
as
bait.
This is where the quest ended, and Uldum as a zone would not officially release in World of Warcraft
what a cool
until
zone, though.
Cataclysm dropped some 6 years later.
I know a lot of people like flame Cataclysm, obviously, for like destroying the world, but they made some pretty cool zones in Cataclysm as well. I know they destroyed the whole of Azeroth, but like Vashi was pretty sick, like Uldum was cool. There was some cool zones for sure.
So later, you can still see loads of comments from players who were wondering where this story would go after having finished it. Also, I was curious, I went and had a look for the discs of Uldum in-game as a physical item, and I could not find them referenced anywhere. There's only replica discs that were added as a trash item when Uldum as a zone was revisited during 8.3 in BFA. I guess for Kata, Deathwing just kind of blew the gate off or something. That sounds lore-friendly enough to me. Maybe there could be a way to obtain these discs of Uldum in vanilla, like some kind of attunement, and then open Uldum as a new
so cool
late-game vanilla zone.
There's just so many things like this, man, that could be potential, like, you know, Classic Plus things as well. It's same thing, man. Imagine like a Booty Bay dungeon or a raid and like a Scarlet Crusade. Oh my god, dude. I would really love Classic Plus.
Of quest chains that ended rather abruptly, there is another big one that so many people will have done and very few ever ended up following through. So after battling through hordes of undead trolls, solving puzzles, and reminding your group to kill every dragon mob in sight, you eventually make it to the final boss of the Sunken Temple.
Dude, this boss, man... God damn, this boss is such a pain in the ass. If you don't, you gotta clear every single mob in the entire dungeon for it.
Shade of Aranicus.
Or it pulls everything.
It can be a bit of a tricky fight due to his level and spamming CC, but once he's down, you get the Chained Essence of Aranicus, a trinket that poisons enemies in a small area around you, which is okay if stealth. What you also get here is a start of a quest to go and speak to Itharius, who is using the amazingly scuffed old High Elf model.
I have never done this.
Further, however, you have to hand in your Chained Essence trinket to the quest giver.
Wait, I actually had no idea that you can do this. I usually just kept the trinket, like, as an item. You have made your choice and so it begins. Your choices have been, to date, what I would consider to be correct ones. Your actions and deeds henceforth will determine whether this is to continue. I never did this. I don't even know what this guy is. What?
Okay, pretty big price when half-decent trinkets are just kind of, well, non-existent in Classic for the most part. This then has a follow-up where you have to journey across the land and sea to the faraway Winterspring.
He's in Swamp of Sorrows? I didn't know that. Crazy.
To talk to Umbrance the Spirit Speaker, where the quest just randomly ends. There isn't even a mysterious cliffhanger, it's just...
Dude, that's classic, man. That's such a classic Blizzard move, man. They literally make you sacrifice like an actual pretty good trinket to then go to a quest that just does nothing. Oh my god. And it's each part of the quest is like a completely random end of the world, right? One is the quest starts in in Sunken Temple, then it goes to Swamp of Sorrows and to Winterspring and you get nothing. Like what?
Straight up not finished. In fact, the quest makes it sound like you're going to need to collect some object for the Spirit Speaker to allow him to contact and help Aranicus. I even found a comment on Wowhead quoting a blue post on this premature quest ending, saying more will be added to the Aranicus quest chain in a future patch. Can't reveal anything further at this time, but from what I've seen, it's going to be really cool and fairly rewarding. Or neither of the above. I have a feeling this could have been linked into the Emerald Dream storyline, which we can talk about later. That was
I remember back in like vanilla Wrath days, there was so many private servers doing the whole Emerald Dream thing because everybody thought that Emerald Dream was going to be the new expansion. And I'm really surprised they haven't done like a themed thing with that. I mean, I guess we've dabbled a little bit into it.
It's called hentai, and it's art.
But not like extremely much, right?
Also not finished.
We had the World Dragons, but that wasn't enough. Yeah, the World Dragons was like a little bit of an intro though to it, right? Like it was the dragons from the Emerald Dream or whatever you could say, right? Rumors are that we learn more about it in Dragonflight. I mean, if there is a time to do it in terms of, you know, lore and stuff, it's probably in a dragon-based expansion, right? For sure, with the Emerald Dream and stuff, because like there's the aspects and stuff like that, right? But we'll see.
During vanilla. Similar to Alderman, this could serve as a point to pick up an interesting storyline for players to explore, or at least finish a quest line and add in some kind of other reward since you had to give in your trinket for a bit of XP and gold. One more quest-related one now, or I guess more of a reputation grind. So far north in Winterspring.
Oh no, man, dude. I remember I did this grind. Oh my god. Oh my dude, don't do this, guys, man. All right, this if you want to get this tiger, it's the most grindy thing ever. I did this way back in the day on my warrior, right? Because I really wanted the tiger. And I thought it looked so cool. So I started grinding for it, right? And it was weeks upon weeks of doing it every single day, just grinding it up and farming the mobs and doing stuff like that, right? And eventually I hit Exalted. I was like, damn, finally I can get the tiger. I then went over to the NPC and I realized that it was an Alliance only mount. And I had been grinding the Furbolg rep in Felwood instead. So I looked up the wrong rep, and I looked up the wrong faction, and I had been farming the Furbolg, like whatever the Winterspring tribe, whatever they're called, on an Orc male warrior, trying to get a Winterspring Frost Saber, whatever it's called. So I did the wrong faction, I did the wrong rep, and I went, oh my god, man.
Winterspring are the creatively named Winterspring trainers, which consist of one night elf chilling, quite literally, on top of a rock. Farming rep through repeatable quests with this one-man faction will eventually unlock the Winterspring.
Like, look how cool it looks. I am so not angry. I'm sad that they didn't introduce the unarmored epic mounts in Classic. They should have introduced them for like a month or something or two. If you were really fast at leveling and like you could do it before the first patch came out, you could get that unarmored mount. I don't know why they didn't do that.
A unique recolor of this mount, so you can stand out a little bit in the crowd. However, it being a night elf, it's going to be Alliance only. But what if I told you the Horde was supposed to have their own counterpart to this quest in Vanilla 2? Because I'm pretty sure that they did.
Yep, the little guy with the raptor. For some reason, it's an NPC in Classic, and they didn't make the quest actually available till, I can't remember the Wrath or Kata, something like that.
But it just never got finished. In Ungoro Crater, there are two NPCs, one to the southeast and one to the northwest, who are part of the Ravasor
Cataclysm?
Both of these were removed at the start of TBC, but in Wrath you can head over to Morvek in the southeast and start to learn how to tame and eventually own your own Venomhide Ravasor. Cool. These quests are really just for the completionist who wants an excuse to play the game more and chase a hard mount, but it would be a pretty easy thing to add into vanilla.
I mean, it's not a hard mount. I think you have to do like a daily 20 times. It's not really a hard mount. It's pretty much guaranteed if you do it, right?
Mirror a piece of content which ended up being Alliance only. A much bigger part of the game next, and one that underwent many changes from alpha to release in vanilla. Those being the NPC and character models that we used in the game. I read online now and again.
I remember seeing some of the old models, man, for like trolls and stuff. They used to look so scuffed, man.
Some people are interested in using updated models in vanilla, but what if we went the other way instead and brought back more usage of the older alpha models? Now, to be fair, they are used now and again. In the Dead Mines, the Defias miners are using the old human worker variants, and Defias ambushers can spawn as part of an event just outside.
They look pretty cool, though. I always thought these looked pretty cool. They're like a unique model. Maybe because they're unique that they look cool, but they just look interesting, right?
of Stormwind. These guys have a more thin, roguey type appearance.
They do.
Certain South Sea pirates also use old models
They look
too.
cool.
There's actually plenty of examples that made it into the live game.
High elves
but
as
do
well.
you remember the old character models that there used to be?
Okay.
Some really didn't undergo too many changes, such
That's
as
pretty normal.
or Tauren. Others, however, like early Undead or the infamous female troll.
Dude, that one right there. Honestly, it would be kind of cool to have this model in the game. It looks so... It looks like a troll, man. Like hiding under the bridge or something.
Are a little bit different from the end
I would play this, man. I would run around as one of those.
result. When you see some of these old models, you do start to realize why...
Why does she look so big? Why is she so massive? Maybe it's the POV, but... She looks like insanely big, like she's wide. Holy.
Blizzard in some cases decided that they would be better off canning them rather than trying to shoehorn them into the game somewhere. But perhaps it could be a bit more variety to character customization, add something to the appearances we are used to, or just to throw some of the questionable models back into the game as NPCs or enemies. But the area where the most content didn't make it into the game compared to how much was planned has to be zones. Which is crazy if you think about it, because Vanilla is by a huge margin the largest version of WoW ever. Among the
it's cool, and there's so many different zones, man. Vanilla is so... I love like the world of Vanilla.
Tools of Azeroth, the one that perhaps underwent the most changes was Ironforge. Alpha Ironforge was very different to the end result that we got on launch.
Maybe navigating old Ironforge would be rough, but it looks so cool. Multiple layers of like layers. You know what I mean, right? It looked cool.
With far more narrow pathways throughout the city, bridges all over the place on upper levels to support houses and stores, and the central Great Forge was, well, a lot more forgy as opposed to the huge pool of lava that we have now. Comparatively, Ironforge these days is a lot more open and has more of a grand and majestic feeling to it, as opposed to a more dark and gritty dwarven city.
I kind of like this version. Maybe it's because it's the version we don't have, so I prefer this version. But I kind of like the whole, like, it's like you're in like a cave, like some sort of a, you know, it has more dwarf vibes, I think.
Explorers over the years in World of Warcraft have also shown off old Ironforge.
This one we've all seen.
Hall of Thanes, an unused location underneath Ironforge that was present in game files and can still be explored to this day if you know how to clip through the wall. This location was later used in the 4.1 PTR during Cataclysm as a return to this particular area to give players an official chance to see what had been...
this thing right here, this door... You could fear a player through this door, and then you could clip through the door, and you could actually go down to Old Ironforge, like the city, like that. Not the city, but like that little area with the crystals. You could do that, or you could also sheep, or you could go up on top on Ironforge, go over to the airport, all the way down to that little farm that's above wetlands. There's a little cave you can go into, use slow fall, and then jump over to Ironforge, and you're gonna be like slowly like jumping into like the place. And if you timed it just perfectly, you would land in the lava below where the lava is, be able to jump down, and then time it perfectly by jumping into the wall, and then you would actually jump through the wall into that place down there. It's kind of cool.
Lurking below for all this time.
There's a window you can clip through too. Yeah, probably. I didn't know about the window, but yeah, these two are new.
Next up, Azshara. It always felt like a zone which was lacking on content. Aside from a couple quests specific to the Order Alliance, a location for plenty of the Sunken Temple class quests, and the incredibly inconveniently located Duke Hydraxis, there ain't all that much there, and there's quite likely some good reasons for that. Because content...
Guys, we're not... Stop.
...was planned for Azshara, but it just didn't end up happening. There are two major things that we know about, both of which ended up getting scrapped. The Azshara Battlegrounds. This was going to be another PvP addition to the game.
This would have been sick.
With a more Dota or MOBA gameplay theme to it.
This would have been so sick. Oh my god, I would have loved this, man. That would have been awesome.
How that would have worked in an MMO, I'm not entirely sure. But if Blizzard did do it then, there would have been a very early adopter to the third-person MOBA. This battle...
Yeah, like some sort of like a... I don't know, there was like an event every once in a while you would go, and there would like, you know, NPCs would start spawning and stuff like that. It would be sick, man.
Battleground idea was in consideration as early as patch 1.3.
Yeah, it is gnarly.
And would be a repeat topic for Blizzard during Wrath, even brought up for Mists of Pandaria. Unfortunately, it fell to the wayside and never came to the light, and has been sitting out as a missing piece of content ever since.
It's a shame.
These days, I think having a MOBA-type battleground in an MMO, when the MOBA genre has existed for so many years now and is well established, might be a bit of a tough sell. Another major piece of content was the Bay of Storms instance, with many screenshots online of a placeholder portal being in the vanilla beta for this. Back then, every single instance portal looked like the Dark Portal, by the way. Very little is known about what this sub-zone could have held. Was it going to be a dungeon?
Oh my god, this would have been so cool, man. Yo, I mean, they literally have all the things for like a potential Classic Plus. They just need to do these things, right?
Was it going to be underwater? Would it have made Azshara more of an active zone? I can say one thing about Azshara though, it's maybe that Blizzard did not want it to be seen. It's a very beautiful zone when you're flying above it, but for a game with no flying mounts, the way the zone is set out can be very frustrating when you're either doing some
like 5 quests
swim to get between quests, or trying not to fall off a cliff to your doom. Grim Atoll is another sub-zone with an interesting story that could be realized in...
Bro, they're just baiting. They're baiting with the Uldum, they're baiting with the Grim Atoll, Hyjal. It's literally, all the things are there, they just didn't do them. Karashen is literally there as well. It's so crazy. Like, vanilla was so ambitious.
The game. As a short rundown of one of the stories that's happened there, it was once home to the clan where
I agree, Mufford. Like it makes it like, I think a lot of the interesting things about MMOs and open world games are the unknown, right? It's just there's so much like mystery and like, oh, what's over here? What could be through that door? I think that's what make the game what it is, I suppose, right?
Straza was held captive. Grim Atoll served as a base
of operations
where the Orcs aimed to raise a secret army to lay waste to the Alliance. However, an unlikely force led by Ronin managed to free her, where she went on to destroy the remainder of the Dragon
They did this later, though.
Now, we don't need to copy-paste the storyline. Maybe having Alex Straza being held captive in Classic
sounds like dungeon.
A little bit much, but a mid-level dungeon involving the Dragon Maw in the wetlands,
It'd be cool.
That could work. There aren't exactly a ton of dungeons around that area, and it would be very much in line with an existing enemy already found in that zone.
You could just take these potential things that was in Classic that was turned into something else, and then go a different direction with them in Classic Plus, right? It could be sick. It's kind of interesting. It's like a diary of thinking of developers. Yeah, I agree. Vanilla Plus might be copium, you're right, Mana, but I'm a copium overlord, man. Listen up, I'm a vanilla, main, so that's what I do.
Would be brought back and finally revealed as a dungeon, where thematically you ride a dragon in at the start and destroy most of the trash as you begin. Moving on though, the Hellfire Peninsula was also in development during vanilla, though would only go on to be released during TBC. It was expected to be a later game.
Look how funky this looks. Like the little, I think this looks so weird, man. It's a cool looking zone. You can definitely see they took inspiration from Eastern Plaguelands with it though, with the way that it looks, right? But it looks so funky.
Zone, and from looking at it, it's quite reminiscent of its end result.
Morrowind,
Early versions have way more items flying in the air though, similar to how Nagrand ended up being. I think putting Hellfire in vanilla would be difficult though. It's kind of inexorably linked to the idea of going through the Dark Portal.
Doesn't work like that.
Once you cross that threshold, well, surely it has to be a lot more than just one new zone, especially when that zone isn't...
This did look epic though, I will say.
Different from what ends up being playable in the expansion. Another piece of TBC content present in vanilla was the Caverns of Time, located...
Yeah, top one in the chat if you tried bucking through this portal before. It's the same thing. It's the mystery. Like, what's through this big thing? Like, what's in here, you know? It's like there's a massive dragon guarding the door. Like, it's the mystery of the game that makes what it is, right?
In Eastern Tanaris. Through some creative wall jumping, you can get in there, and well, it's basically exactly what shipped alongside TBC.
They had it ready.
Time has always been a very intriguing place. Whenever there's a need to put something in the game which doesn't really fit with a timeline, just throw it in the Caverns of Time.
Easy
magic,
clap.
Bronze Dragonflight, job done.
Bro, whenever time travel is introduced in anything, it always is so weird, man, because you can just make anything up at that point, right? I don't know.
Stratholme, the battle for Mount Hyjal,
it is what it is.
The Dragon Soul, and many more. This place has allowed for the WoW devs to tell many stories from the past all over again. Again, not
It's
really
always
sure
a mess,
how much
yeah.
it fits into vanilla and to what extent it could be used, but if it was, well, Warcraft 3 certainly has enough story packed into it to make many instances off of. One of World of Warcraft's most famous raids ever surely would deserve a chance for a reboot in some format or another. I mean, beyond vanilla, it's both a raid in TBC and a 2-part dungeon in Legion. And of course,
the remake was pretty cool though. I will say that the Legion remade version of Karashen was a very, very interesting take on it, man. It was so cool, actually, like very magical and stuff.
Talking about Karashen from World of Warcraft's alpha and beta,
I liked it a lot.
Work was already put into this location.
Yeah, it was insane.
With room after room being sculpted out, though it was definitely in need of a lot more
She's
work.
kind of thick. Is this like an older version? See, I think this is an old model, right?
There are also the crypts below.
I mean, I didn't mean it like, you know, her model was thick. That's what I meant. Like the model was thicker, you know? I think all the alpha models were just like way bigger and more like not clunky, but just like larger, right?
Explorable for a very long time.
Oh
but
my
again,
god.
They were never used in the actual game until, I believe, Legion for certain.
Bro, oh my gosh. And I have played a lot of custom private servers back in the day, and I remember, man, these Karashen crypts was used for so many custom dungeons. This could be such a cool dungeon, man. Like there could be bosses in here. There could be so many cool things in this place, man.
And artifact weapons such as the Moonkin's
the upside down sinners.
Karashen is a mysterious and magical.
All these people that are all here, guys, are people that didn't post enough PogChamps in my chat.
Location though, more or less anything could go here in regards to it being a dungeon or a piece of raiding content. Maybe you even have it be a zone where the inside of the tower is considerably larger than it appears from the outside.
In Minecraft,
Just say it's magic, right? As mentioned earlier, the Emerald Dream has had frequent mentions throughout the Warcraft universe. In Night Elf questing, Moonglade, Druid questing, as well as the huge physical portals that the Green Dragon world bosses guard scattered across the world. The closest we've gotten to an Emerald Dream in World of Warcraft was the
Nightmare.
Somewhat disappointing opening raid of Legion.
I never did this. I feel like whenever a raid, maybe this is just me, whenever there's just like portals everywhere, oh, you go through the branch, there's a portal, then you teleport over here, this here, you teleport over here. It feels a little bit like lazy. Like you could make people like slide down something or like go down here or like a little tunnel or something. Instead of it's just like portals. It doesn't feel like a raid, right? So it's like it's like an instance within an instance, right? It's a shame it was only small raid in Legion. Yeah, the bosses were pretty fun. I didn't raid this, but I've done it for like transmog runs and stuff like that a long time ago, right? Even looks worse than the classic Emerald Dream, yeah.
Nightmare. The only legacy that left behind was it being one of, if not the easiest mythic raids of all time.
Oh, really?
It was cleared in a bit over 12 hours on its opening day. Didn't make for much of a world first race, that one. I will say after having defeated Xavius, the area afterwards was a nice look into how the dream would have been.
That's crazy.
For Classic, there was technically an Emerald Dream in the game files, which, as you can imagine, was huge, open, expansive fields, alien plants, and colossal trees on a seemingly endless scale, though it just never quite found its way into being a completed idea, even though it was indicated at an early stage that a lot of work had gone into it, with Jeff Kaplan being quoted as saying, "The Emerald Dream is shaping up to be extremely cool. We don't want to preview any of the content yet, as it is endgame, and we want some surprises for players."
Oh my god, this is such a shame to hear, man. That they were actually making it, and they had it like planned and stuff. 2003, man.
Is massive and beautiful, and once the content team is done with it, it will be exceedingly challenging. It almost sounds as though there was a lot more done than just a level design here. Maybe what they cooked up back then was used in a future expansion in a not so obvious way.
Guys, they're gonna do Emerald Dream soon. It's gonna come very soon. It's only been 19 years, guys.
To be the case. Speaking of content used in a future expansion,
housing, yeah, this goddamn portal in Stormwind, man. Like, it's literally in Stormwind, and yeah, they actually had housing planned. I completely forgot about this.
The World of Warcraft team at one point were very much
this stupid portal.
Housing had been a feature of many of the successful predecessors to World of Warcraft, such as Star Wars Galaxy, Ultima Online, and well, Blizzard weren't exactly out to redesign the wheel with World of Warcraft now, were they? From the very outset of World of Warcraft, giving players the ability to create their own home was something under consideration. It just never took that top priority spot to really be worked on over for other features
that is
for
so
such
funny.
a long time. Yet remnants of it remain in the game, such as the portal behind a portcullis in Stormwind. This was to be the entrance to the residential district. Eventually, I think we can say one of two things happened to housing in World of Warcraft. Either you see Warlords of Draenor's garrison system as it. It was certainly very ambitious. But
this was the most disappointing thing ever, man. I was really hyped to choose a spot for my base and like build it and like make my own cool base. And we just got, oh, you can choose one spot and it's only for this one thing. And it's like, it was the place for chores. That was it.
Often left players feeling as though they had a little reason to leave their own instance
like,
version of the world, as everything they needed was right there. More social or communal residence could have been interpreted from the class order halls.
Housing was a bad idea? I don't think so.
Of practice and learning. Warriors
like Final Fantasy does a really good job at housing, from what I understand. I'm not a Final Fantasy player, but from what I understand, like the housing in that game is actually pretty goddamn good. You know? BDO housing? I don't know if BDO has housing. I've never played BDO, but from what I get, it's good. Yeah. What's up, Rixie, as well?
Got a glorious skybound arena, and Rogue's got a murky sewer. I'm surprised they haven't tried to bring order halls back.
With housing, you have somewhere to put your blender. Okay, calm down.
To be honest, it could be a core expansion feature as far as I'm concerned. But we have never had housing as it's been seen in
Final
other
Fantasy,
games,
right?
As in a customizable building
which
enables you to choose things such as item placement, decoration, theme, and so on. I really don't know how housing would fit into Classic, whether it makes sense. There is kind of
isn't this the house in Goldshire that has like those demonic kids that make like a pentagram? Or it might be another house I'm thinking about. No, I think this is that house.
Nice thing about
I think it is this house.
Ironforge, Orgrimmar, and so on being busy. And if you want something to be personal to the player, does it have to be separate?
Yep, there they are.
Maybe it just wasn't meant to be. It really is amazing just how much content was planned for vanilla, and to look back and see what was scrapped, what was unfinished, and what just needed a few more expansions to come to life. I think it goes without saying I've definitely been speculating from a Classic Plus angle on this video too. And I hope this shows how much extra stuff there possibly could be in Classic, whilst keeping things very true to how the game was back then. Anything else big that you think is worth a mention? Always up to look into the history of World of Warcraft.
Yeah, that's cool.
Again, let me know below. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening in.
Good video.
And I'll see you all in the next one.
Really good video.
Very soon.
I think there's so much that can be done with Classic, though. If they do go down like a Vanilla Plus route, there's tons of content already in the game that they had planned to do that they could just like capitalize on and make. But Classic Plus does take a lot of resources and it does take a lot of work. So I'm not sure if they're going to go down that route. Maybe they're just going to give, you know, fresh, perhaps hardcore. I think hardcore is a lot more, like a hardcore official version is a lot more plausible than a Classic Plus, at least for the time being, right? But honestly, really good video from Willy.